The clock had just slipped past midnight when my phone buzzed across the kitchen counter. At that hour, a mother's heart never jumps for good news. It was my son, Daniel. "Mom, listen," he said, breathing hard like he'd been rehearsing. "I know you gave us that lake house worth millions, but Lena says you can't come to Ava's party tomorrow. She thinks it's better this way." I sat down slowly on my old wooden chair, the same one where I fed Daniel oatmeal before school for 18 straight years. "All right, Daniel," I whispered. That was it. Not a fight, not a scream. Just those 2 words. But they cracked something inside my chest, a quiet fracture I knew would never heal the same again. And yet, something else woke up too. A steel I hadn't felt in decades. Asterisk, asterisk, what I planned next would shake our entire world. Asterisk, asterisk. But first, let me tell you who I am. My name is Evelyn Park. I'm 62 years old. For 40 years, I ran a tiny Korean diner in Seattle. Nothing glamorous, just warm soups, honest food, and the kind of love you can taste. I learned young that respect matters more than money, and family isn't supposed to be conditional. I raised Daniel alone after losing my husband to a sudden heart attack. 4 months from diagnosis to funeral. 4 months from laughter to silence. I remember Daniel tugging on my sleeve at the hospital. "Mama, when is Daddy waking up?" I squeezed his little fingers but said nothing. The tears waited until the lights were out and his small body finally slept. A mother learns to cry quietly. A mother becomes a mountain, solid enough to hold 2 worlds when one collapses. The years that followed were long and merciless. I ran the diner from sunrise to midnight, then cleaned office buildings at night. My sister watched Daniel when I couldn't. I was always tired, always working, but never complaining, not once. Every falling eyelash, every backache, every double shift. It was all for him. I saved money like survival depended on it. New clothes only if the old ones tore. Birthday dinners once a year. Movies, only the free ones at the library. Every spare dollar went into a peanut jar with tape around it so Daniel couldn't peek. My dream was simple: give my boy the chances I never had. And slowly, it happened. A private tutor when math got hard. A refurbished computer when other kids had brand new ones. Summer programs that stretched his mind instead of his wallet. Then, one afternoon, an envelope arrived. Daniel got into Harvard. Business major. I cried tears that soaked the acceptance letter. Finally, I thought, finally, all those sacrifices turned into something beautiful. It was at Harvard where he met Lena Brooks. Beautiful, polished, raised in a world where money flowed like water. Her father owned resorts. Her mother owned credit cards with no limits. Lena studied luxury fashion design and walked through life like every room was a runway. When Daniel first brought her home, something in my stomach tightened. Not jealousy. Something older. Something instinctive. A mother's warning bell. But Daniel looked happier than I'd seen since his father died. So I swallowed my unease and smiled. Through all 4 years of college, they dated. I tried to be welcoming. But Lena kept her distance. She called me Mrs. Park, never Evelyn. Like my name wasn't worth learning. She refused to eat the food I made. "Oh, Mrs. Park, thank you. But I don't eat carbs," she'd say with a tight, pretty smile that never reached her eyes. When they got engaged after graduation, I congratulated them with a heavy heart. Part joy, part fear. The wedding was massive, elegant. Her parents paid for almost everything. My small contribution felt like a crumb on a banquet table. I sat in the back row beside strangers, watching them begin a life I didn't feel part of. Then life took another turn. My sister passed away and left me her bakery in Portland. The area had grown expensive. When I sold it, I ended up with almost $900,000. Real, life-changing money. I invested carefully, lived only on my modest Social Security checks. and watched my savings grow to nearly $2 million. Daniel and Lena visited occasionally, always rushed, always busy. Then came baby Ava, my first grandchild. My heart melted the moment I saw her tiny face. I wanted to hold her, help raise her, be the grandma who showed up with soup and stories. But Lena had other ideas. "Oh, Mrs. Park, we already have a nanny." "Oh, Mrs. Park, Ava has too many toys already." "Oh, Mrs. Park, don't come today of us, not well." I swallowed the hurt over and over, hoping time would soften her. Instead, everything kept getting worse. And it all reached its breaking point the night Lena casually mentioned, during dinner, that they were outgrowing their condo. And I foolishly offered to help. "This condo is just too small," Lena said, swirling her wine like the room wasn't good enough for her. "I want a real house, a yard, a pool. Space for Ava to grow. Daniel deserves that." Daniel's cheeks flushed red. "Lena, we can't afford a house like that right now," he murmured. "But your salary helps, honey, and maybe my parents." He froze, realizing who was sitting right across from him. Me. And in that split second, I saw the shame in my son's eyes, not at Lena, at himself, at his life, at failing to provide the lifestyle she demanded, and something inside me cracked again. That night, sleep refused to come. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about every double shift, every burned finger. Every night I wiped tears alone so Daniel wouldn't see. Then a thought came, clear as day. If I died tomorrow, who would inherit my money? Daniel. So why not give it now? Why not let him be happy while I could still see it? The next morning, I called him. "Daniel," I said softly, "I want to help you buy a house, a real home. The kind Lena dreams of." He was silent at first, shocked. "Mom, that's too much. That's your entire life's savings." "My whole life," I said, "was for you." After many conversations, arguments, tears, he finally agreed. We spent weeks searching every weekend, every spare moment. Then we found it. A gorgeous house in a quiet, prestigious neighborhood. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, blue-tiled pool shimmering in the backyard, and mountains that glowed pink at sunset. Price tag, $3.2 million. I liquidated everything. 40 years of sacrifice, gone in a signature. Daniel hesitated, but Lena didn't. "Put the house in my name," she told him. "She always dreamed of owning something like this," Daniel said. "It'll mean the world to her." And like a fool, blinded by love for her son, I agreed. No contract, no protection, just trust, just love. They moved in 5 months ago. I helped carry boxes, organize the kitchen, hung curtains with trembling hands because I'd never touched anything so expensive. Lena barely said thank you, but Daniel was smiling, and seeing Ava run across the vast backyard made my chest warm. I told myself it was worth it. But after the move, everything changed. The visits stopped. The calls slowed. The messages became shorter. "Son, can I come see Ava this weekend?" "Mom, we're still unpacking." "Son, I miss my granddaughter. She's with Lena's parents." Always Lena's parents. They were there every week. They got photos, holidays, inside jokes. I, who paid for the entire house, was treated like a stranger, begging for crumbs of time. And then came the midnight call. Ava's 6th birthday was that Saturday. A huge party, bounce house, magicians, catered food. I'd already bought her present. A red electric scooter that cost half my monthly check. Then Daniel's voice broke through the phone. "Mom, I need to tell you something." I knew instantly this wasn't good. "Lena doesn't want you at Ava's party." It felt like someone punched through my ribs. "What? Why? Daniel, what did I do?" She says you make comments about her family. That you criticize the house decor. That you told her she feeds Ava too much junk food. I never said anything like that. I always bit my tongue. Always stayed out of the way. Daniel, I whispered, I bought that house. 40 years of saving. And she won't let me attend my own granddaughter's birthday. Mom, she's stressed. Please don't make this harder. And you? I asked. What do you think? Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Daniel, I said slowly, do you think this is right? Another pause. Mom, I need to keep peace at home. My heart froze. Something inside me went cold, colder than winter mornings at the diner. All right, I said. I won't come. Mom, good night. He hung up. I sat alone on my old couch, staring at the stained carpet I never replaced because I was saving for Daniel's future. For the future, I had already given him. In that terrible silence, something shifted inside me. I didn't sleep a second that night. I stared at the ceiling, feeling a fire grow slow, hot, unstoppable. Not rage, not grief. Clarity. Frozen, dangerous clarity. At 5 a.m., I rose, showered, dressed in my one nice pair of shoes, grabbed my purse, and walked out the door. I knew exactly where I had to go. The office of Mr. Harrison, the attorney who helped me sell my sister's bakery. I arrived at 8 sharp. The secretary blinked in surprise. Mrs. Park, you don't have an appointment. I need to speak to Mr. Harrison, I said. It's about the house. Something in my voice must have unsettled her. She called immediately. 5 minutes later, I sat across from him. Mrs. Park, he said kindly, adjusting his glasses. How can I help you? I took a breath. Harrison. The $3 million house I bought for my son. I put it in his wife's name. Is there a way to take it back? He paused, eyebrows lifting. Take it back. Remove her name. Put mine. Or give me control again. He leaned back, cleaning his glasses slowly. Mrs. Park, when you signed those documents, you legally gifted that property to Lena Brooke Park, correct? Yes. And you have no contract, no written agreement, no retained ownership. My stomach dropped like a stone. It was a gift, I whispered. I trusted my son. I trusted my family. He sighed gently. In the eyes of the law, the house is hers. Completely hers. And in that moment, the truth hit me with the force of a lifetime. I had given everything. And they had taken all of it. I trusted them, I whispered, staring at Mr. Harrison. He folded his hands gently. I understand, Mrs. Park, but legally, once you recorded the gift, the house stopped being yours. It became hers. You have no rights to that property now. Those words hit like stones. No rights. But I paid. I sacrificed everything. I'm sorry, he said quietly. But with real estate, a gift is complete. You gave away ownership fully and permanently. He paused, thinking, unless. My heart jumped. Unless what? There is one option, he said. It's rare, complicated, and not guaranteed. But you can attempt to revoke the gift due to gross ingratitude. Ingratitude, I echoed. Yes, the law allows revoking a gift if the recipient treats the giver with serious cruelty, intentional humiliation, abuse, disrespect, taking advantage of you, or denying you basic emotional rights. But you must prove it in court. And it can take years. I leaned forward, voice tight. Lena won't let me attend my granddaughter's birthday in the house I paid for. Doesn't that count? He winced. Possibly. But judges vary. Some might call it family conflict, not legal ungratefulness. It depends on how it's presented. So I've thrown away $3 million. Just like that. He didn't answer. I looked down at my hands that had cooked, cleaned, worked, saved, all for the family now shutting the door in my face. But then a thought sparked inside me. What if I had proof, I said slowly, that Lena isn't who she pretends to be? Proof she deceived me from the beginning. Mr. Harrison's eyes sharpened. What exactly do you mean? I don't know yet, I said, but I will. I walked out of that office with fire rushing through my veins. I hadn't felt in decades. If I couldn't take the house back yet, I could at least uncover the truth. And something deep inside me whispered, she has secrets, big ones. Becoming a detective. I had time, nothing but time. 2 years into retirement, living alone in my small apartment. So I turned into a one-woman detective agency. I started with social media. Lena posted everything. Luxury outfits. Posing beside the pool. Selfies with Ava. Vacations. Shopping bags. Perfect smiles. But something felt off. No friends. No group photos. No memories from college. No tagged posts from long-term relationships. Pictures of her parents, yes. Pictures of friends, zero. Suspicious. So I made a fake account. A quiet avatar with no personal details. I joined a group for alumni from her fashion program. And I posted, anyone remember Lena Brooks? Trying to reconnect. Replies came fast and they stunned me. Oh, Lena. She dropped out sophomore year. She failed her final project twice. She never graduated. She was always chasing rich guys. She bragged about marrying money one day. My skin went cold. She never graduated. But Daniel believed she had a fashion design degree. She lied from the beginning. And that was only the start. I kept digging. Public records. Court websites. Debt databases. And then I found them. Not one, not two. 3 court cases. $28,000 in unpaid credit card debt. An eviction for unpaid rent. And a lawsuit from a furniture store for defaulted payments. Lena wasn't rich. Lena wasn't stable. Lena wasn't who she pretended to be. Lena was drowning in debt. And using my son to stay afloat, I printed everything, screenshots, documents, statements, and rushed back to Mr. Harrison. He spread the papers across his desk, eyebrows rising higher and higher. This, he breathed, changes everything. My heart pounded. What do you mean? If we can prove she married Daniel for financial gain, lied about her identity to manipulate you, and used false pretenses to get the house, then yes, we could argue the gift should be revoked. And possibly sue her for fraud and emotional damages. My pulse hammered. So, we can do it. He nodded slowly. Yes, but it will be war. Courts, lawyers, pain. Your son will be caught in the middle. This could break your family. I thought of the phone call. Daniel choosing peace at home over his own mother. The years of sacrifice. The house I gave them. The birthday party I wasn't allowed to attend. And I whispered, I'm sure. Mr. Harrison exhaled. Then we need more proof. The more, the better. That's when the idea hit. Me sharp, cold, perfect. Can we access her bank records? I asked. That's nearly impossible without consent, he said. And attempting it illegally is dangerous. What if, I said quietly, she shows them to me herself? He blinked. How would she? But I was already smiling. A smile with no warmth at all. Leave that to me. The trap? That night, I created another fake identity, this time on a luxury shopping website. I pretended to be a personal consultant for affluent women, offering secret deals on designer handbags, jewelry, vacations. I used carefully chosen photos from foreign sites, crafted believable descriptions, followed high-end accounts. Then I messaged her. Hi, I adore your style. I help wealthy clients find exclusive designer deals. Interested? 3 hours later, she replied, yes, very interested. Tell me more. She took the bait. For days, we talked. I pretended to offer her access to exclusive designer items. She bragged, complained, confessed. She told me about her debts, her struggle to look rich, how Daniel gave her a credit card with no limit, how she used it freely, how she planned to convince him to sell the house, to pay off her debt. Then came the message that almost made me throw my phone across the room. My mother-in-law will never know. She's clueless about money. I forced my hands to stay steady. I typed, "But won't she cause problems?" Her reply came instantly. "That old woman?" I stopped breathing. "She gave me the house. It's in my name. She has no power, none. And Daniel will do whatever I say." "So," I said quietly, staring at my phone, "I have total control." Lena didn't know she had just handed me the confession I'd been praying for. I took screenshots of every message, saved them to cloud drives, printed hard copies, organized them carefully. Then I marched straight to Mr. Harrison's office. He scanned the messages, his expression sharpening into something fierce. "Perfect," he said, eyes glinting. "With this, we have grounds for revoking the gift and filing for fraud. We can also request an immediate order preventing her from selling the house." "How long?" I asked. "If the judge cooperates within weeks. The full case. 1 to 2 years. But she won't be able to touch that house while we fight." "Then let's start," I whispered. But Mr. Harrison's face turned serious. "Mrs. Park, this will devastate your son. He's married to her. He's raising a daughter with her. If this explodes and it will explode, his marriage might not survive." I thought of Daniel, my boy who once clung to me after nightmares, who cried into my apron when he scraped his knee, who I carried through every hardship, protected from every storm. But that wasn't the man I faced now. The man he'd become couldn't stand up to his wife for even 5 minutes. The man he'd become chose her manipulation over my decades of sacrifice. "Sometimes," I said slowly, "you must break what's rotten to save whatever's left. If my son hurts, maybe he'll finally open his eyes." Mr. Harrison nodded. "Then let's move forward." I signed everything that day. The lawsuit was filed Monday, and while the wheels of justice began turning, I set my own plan in motion. A plan I intended to execute with absolute precision. The birthday I wasn't invited to. Saturday arrived bright and warm. I woke early, showered, put on my best dress, one of the only nice ones I still owned, applied a bit of makeup, and fixed my hair. I looked in the mirror and saw a 62-year-old woman who had been pushed too far, a woman done bowing her head, a woman ready to take her life back. I picked up Ava's birthday gift, the red electric scooter I'd saved for, and placed it in the trunk of my old 20-year-old sedan. Then I drove to their house. The house I paid for. The house she thought she owned. I arrived at 2 p.m., peak party hour. Cars lined the street, expensive ones. Children ran past with glitter makeup and balloon swords. I sat in my car for a minute, watching, gathering strength. Then I stepped out. The security guard at the gate straightened politely. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Can I help you?" "I'm here for Ava's birthday," I said, holding the wrapped scooter. He tapped on a tablet. "Your name?" "Evelyn Park." He scrolled, frowned, scrolled again. "I'm sorry, ma'am. Your name isn't on the guest list. It must be. I'm her grandmother." "I'll call inside," he said, picking up a phone. I could hear the muffled voice through the receiver. "Mrs. Park, there's a woman here claiming to be Ms. Brooks' mother. Should we?" "I understand. Yes, ma'am." He hung up, and with professional sympathy, delivered the blow. "I'm sorry. You're not allowed to enter." He crawled up my neck. Shame-hot, humiliating washed over me. Banned. From the house I bought from my own granddaughter's birthday. "This is her gift," I said quietly, pointing at the scooter. He hesitated, then nodded. "I can take it inside for you." "Thank you," I murmured. I walked back to my car. But I didn't leave. I sat there and watched guests arrive smiling, laughing, welcomed. Watched children run around with painted faces. Watched luxury cars roll up the driveway. And then, I saw what I'd been waiting for. A silver Mercedes pulled in, Lena's parents stepped out drenched in jewelry and smugness. Then another young woman climbed out behind them. She looked almost identical to Lena. Same height, same features, same posture. My instinct flared. I quietly lifted my phone and snapped photos. I didn't know if I'd need them, but I'd learned to never waste evidence. They walked in without the guard even checking the list. Of course. The people she wanted to impress, not the woman who paid for the entire house. I stayed until guests began leaving. Children dragged by tired parents, people carrying goodie bags and leftover desserts. And then Daniel appeared, carrying Ava in his arms. She wore a tiny pirate costume hat, red vest, toy sword. She giggled, holding balloons. My heart tightened painfully. I had missed everything. He helped her into a new SUV, one I'd never seen, probably financed or gifted by her family. Then he turned toward the house and froze. He had finally seen me. I stepped out of my car. "Hi, son," I said softly. He walked toward me slowly, guilt etched across his face. "Mom, what are you doing here?" "I came to bring Ava her gift," I said. "They wouldn't let me in." "Mom," I explained this. "Lena didn't want—" "I know what Lena wanted, Daniel," I cut in. "But what do you want?" He looked away. "Don't make this harder, Mom." "Harder?" I whispered. "Daniel, I bought this house. I gave you every penny I saved for 40 years. And you treat me like a stranger, like I'm an embarrassment." "Mom, Lena is stressed. She's in debt," I said sharply. He blinked. "What?" "She's drowning in debt. 3 lawsuits. And she never graduated from fashion school. She lied about everything. And she's planning to sell this house behind your back to pay what she owes." Daniel's face turned white. "What are you talking about?" I reached into my purse and pulled out the folder. I handed it to him. "It's all here. Documents, screenshots, proof." He took the folder with shaking hands but didn't open it. "Mom, did you investigate my wife?" "I investigated the woman who is destroying our family and stealing everything I worked for." "You can't do this," he said, voice rising. "This is invasion of privacy. And banning me from my granddaughter's birthday, treating me like garbage at the gate of the house I paid for." "What's that, Daniel?" He looked around nervously, whispering urgently. "Mom, please, leave. If Lena sees you here, she explode." "Lena, Lena," I said quietly. "And me. Your mother?" "The woman who raised you alone," I said softly. "Who worked her hands to the bone so you could have everything. And now?" My voice trembled. "I don't matter at all." "It's not that," Daniel insisted. "Then what is it?" I asked. "Explain to me how I became the villain in a story I built with my own blood." He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "You were always controlling, Mom," he finally said. "You wanted to run my life. You called every day. You always had opinions about where we should live, how to raise Ava, what school she should attend." Lena felt suffocated. The words hit like a slap. "Controlling." I let out a short, bitter laugh, empty of humor. "Daniel, I called because I care, because I wanted to be part of your life. But if love feels like control to you, then I'm sorry for being too much of a mother." He swallowed hard. "Mom, read the folder," I said, cutting him off. "Read it, then decide whether I'm the villain, or whether you're being used." I turned and walked to my car. He called my name, but I didn't stop. I got in, started the engine, and drove off. In the rearview mirror, Daniel stood frozen on the sidewalk, holding the folder tightly like it might burn him. The drive home was blurry. My hands shook on the wheel. When I finally stepped into my apartment, I collapsed onto the couch. And then for the first time in so many years I cried. Cried from anger. Cried from heartbreak. Cried from the betrayal of the son I devoted my life to. But after the tears dried, Something hard and cold returned. I washed my face, made tea, sat at my kitchen table. I wasn't done. The investigation expands. Mr. Harrison had given me the contact of a private investigator, a man named David. He promised nothing illegal, only efficiency. I sent an email explaining everything, and I asked him to dig deeper into Lena, her parents, and that unfamiliar young woman I'd seen at the party. Something about her bothered me. 2 days later, David wrote back. He'd found things. Big things. We arranged a meeting at Mr. Harrison's office. David was quiet, unremarkable. The kind of man no one notices, perfect for his job. He slid a folder onto the table. It felt like my life had become nothing but folders. Mrs. Park, he said calmly, Lena's family isn't what they pretend to be. My chest tightened. Start, I said. First, her father, Richard Brooks. David flipped open a page. He is not a successful hotel owner. His last hotel shut down 2 years ago. He's drowning in debt, behind on taxes. And the house they live in is close to foreclosure. I leaned in, heart pounding. And her mother, also deep in debt. Credit cards, personal loans. And this is important, there have been multiple bank transfers from Daniel and Lena's joint account to her parents' accounts. He showed me the highlighted lines. $12, $15,000, $9,500. My blood boiled. Daniel has no idea, I whispered. Likely not, David said. Most transfers happened between 10 a.m. and noon when he's at work. And the young woman from the party, I asked. David smiled darkly. That's Lena's sister, Amanda Brooks. She has a history of fraud. 3 years ago, she was arrested for scamming older men, pretending to date them, borrowing money, then disappearing. I felt sick. And there's more, David said. He slid out another stack of papers. I found old social media posts 6 years old. Lena and Amanda, joking about catching wealthy husbands and living easy lives. He showed me screenshots of them together in a classroom. What class is this? I asked. A seminar on how to meet and marry wealthy men, David said. The room spun. And one last thing, he added. Perhaps the most important. He placed a final folder in front of me. These are message logs between Lena and Amanda. Screenshots from someone she cut off years ago, a friend who kept everything. What do they say? I whispered. Everything, David replied. Their entire plan. I opened the folder with trembling hands. Message after message, conversation after conversation, revealed the truth. They spoke about Daniel like he was a tool. The fool. Mama's boy. Perfect target. They laughed about me. The old idiot. She'll do anything to see her grandson. Keep her desperate control is easy. Then came the conversation that made me physically ill. Amanda, doesn't his mother suspect anything? Lena, her. She's obsessed with being liked. She does anything I tell her just to see Ava. Amanda, genius. When are you selling the house? Lena, maybe 6 more months. I need Daniel to sign the right papers first. He signs everything I put in front of him. Amanda, how much will we get? Lena, about $1 million each. Mom and Dad too. The house is worth more than 3. Amanda and Daniel. Lena, he keeps the debt. Then I'll divorce him and get alimony. I closed the folder, hands shaking violently. Is this enough? I asked. Mr. Harrison looked up, his face grave. Mrs. Park, this isn't just enough to cancel the gift. This is enough for criminal charges. Fraud, conspiracy, possible jail time for all of them. Then let's do it, I said, voice steady. Are you absolutely sure? He asked. Because once we file this, your son will learn everything. His marriage will shatter. His life will crumble. This will devastate him. I closed my eyes. I pictured Daniel as a boy, sweet, bright, trusting. Then I saw the man he'd become. Blind, manipulated, weak. He needs the truth, I whispered. He deserves the truth, even if it destroys him first. And Ava? Harrison asked gently. That stabbed my heart. Ava, innocent, sweet, caught in the middle. When this comes out, I said firmly, Daniel will get custody. No judge will leave a child with criminals. Harrison nodded. I'll file everything tomorrow. He hesitated, then added, You're a brave woman, Mrs. Park. I shook my head. I'm not brave, Harrison. I'm just tired of being treated like a fool. I gathered the folders and walked out. But instead of driving home, I headed somewhere else, somewhere I needed to see with my own eyes. I made one more stop at the house. This time, I didn't try to enter. I didn't approach the gate. I simply stood across the street the house I bought towering over me like a monument to my own foolishness. Then I sent Daniel a message. Son, I know you're angry, but you need to see something. Please come outside. It's urgent. It took 30 long minutes. Finally, the front door opened. Daniel stepped out, his face tired, strained, irritated. Mom, he sighed, walking toward me. What now? Lena is furious you showed up the other day. Lena is furious, I said calmly, because her entire plan is falling apart. I held out a folder thicker than the last one. Read this. These are conversations between Lena and her sister. Conversations about you. About me. Their plan from the very beginning. He took the folder reluctantly. Mom, stop. Stop this obsession. Daniel, I whispered, for the love of God, open it. If you read all of it and still think I'm wrong, I'll walk away from your life, forever. I swear it. Something in my voice must have pierced the fog he was living in. He opened the folder. I watched his face change. Irritation. Then confusion. Then disbelief. Then a pain so deep his shoulders visibly shook. He read one page. Then another. And another. His hands trembled. He leaned against the fence because his legs seemed unable to hold him. This can't be real, he whispered, voice cracking. It's real, I said. All of it? I hired a professional investigator. Everything is documented. There are witnesses, screenshots, logs, public records. He kept reading faster, now almost frantic. I saw the moment he reached the worst part, where Lena called him a fool. Wrote about using him, divorcing him, draining everything he had. He dropped the folder. She never loved me, he choked. It was all a lie. All of it. I stepped closer. I'm so sorry, son. He turned to me, tears streaming down his face. How was I so stupid? How did I not see any of this? Because you're good, I said gently. You believe in people. You trust. That isn't stupidity. That's being human. He shook his head, devastated. I chose her over you. I let her hurt you. I kept you away from Ava. His voice broke. And the whole time she was laughing behind my back. I opened my arms. My grown son collapsed into me. Just like he used to when he was little and scared of thunderstorms. He held me tight. And I held him tighter. It's going to be okay, I whispered into his hair. I'm going to fix this. He cried in my arms for several minutes. I rubbed his back, the same motion I used when nightmares woke him up as a child. When he finally pulled away, he wiped his face on his sleeve. What do I do now, Mom? I squeezed his shoulder. You go inside. Act normal. Tomorrow morning, you take Ava and leave this house. But I have nowhere to go. Everything is in her name. Even the car. You come to me, I said firmly. My place is small, but there's room for you both. Mom. No arguing. I took a breath and listened carefully. On Monday, we're filing the lawsuit. We're revoking the gift. We're suing Lena for fraud. And you will file for divorce and full custody of Ava. He swallowed hard. She's going to fight back. Let her, I said. With the evidence we have, She won't get far. And Ava? His voice wavered. How do I explain to a 6-year-old that her mother is a liar? You don't, I said gently. She's too young. Just tell her mommy and daddy will live in different houses, but you both love her. That's enough for now. He nodded, but fear still clouded his eyes. Mom, Lena has control of everything. She could empty the accounts, sell the house, do anything. She can't, I said. I already asked Mr. Harrison to file emergency court orders. By tomorrow morning, all accounts will be frozen. The house will be legally blocked. She won't be able to move a finger. He stared at me. You thought of everything. I had plenty of time to think, I said quietly. While I was being pushed out of my own family, he lowered his head, ashamed. Mom, I'm sorry for everything. You were right from the beginning, and I chose wrong. It doesn't matter now, I whispered, because now we were on the same side again. What matters, I told him softly, is that you finally see the truth. And now, we fix this together. He hugged me again, quick, desperate, heavy. I love you, Mom, he whispered. I'm sorry for being such a terrible son. You were never terrible, I said, cupping his face in my hands. You were simply lost. But I found you. And we're going to rebuild everything. I took a breath. Tomorrow morning, you take Ava and come to my apartment. Don't say a word to Lena if she suspects anything. She'll do something desperate. He nodded. What will you do? Leave that to me, I said. I watched him walk back toward the house, head down, broken. But finally awake. And I knew a stronger man would walk out of that place the next day. Sometimes we must shatter before rebuilding stronger. The morning after, I went home and spent the entire night organizing lists, documents, evidence, phone calls I needed to make, files Mr. Harrison needed next, steps for Daniel to leave. By 5 in the morning, I was already drinking coffee, waiting. At 8, Daniel finally arrived. Ava was still in pajamas, hugging a stuffed dinosaur, eyes sleepy. But when she saw me, she lit up like sunshine. Grandma, she squealed, running into my arms. Oh, my sweet girl, what a wonderful surprise. I scooped her up and covered her little cheeks with kisses. I missed you so much, my treasure. Grandma, she whispered, Mommy said you were too busy to visit me. I looked at Daniel over her shoulder. Shame covered his face. Yes, Grandma was busy, I said softly, but not anymore. Now I'm going to see you all the time. Ava's eyes widened. All the time. All the time, I promised. She squeezed her dinosaur tight. Mommy's gonna be mad. She won't be, my love, I said, smoothing her hair. Come on, Grandma made waffles. We spent the morning playing, laughing, pretending the world wasn't collapsing around us. Daniel stayed in my bedroom, making call after call, first to his boss, then to the divorce lawyer Mr. Harrison recommended. At 10 a.m., my phone rang. Mr. Harrison. Mrs. Park, he said, excitement hidden under professionalism. The court orders have been approved. All joint bank accounts are frozen. The house cannot be sold, rented, or refinanced. And I also secured a temporary protection order against Lena and her family. They are prohibited from approaching you or Daniel until further notice. I felt my breath catch. Thank you, Harrison. One more thing, he added. Lena already knows. She tried accessing the account this morning. When she saw it frozen, she went ballistic. She's been calling Daniel. I glanced at the kitchen counter. Daniel's phone lay there on silent, lighting up over and over with missed calls. He's not answering, I said. Good, Harrison replied. The less contact, the better. But Mrs. Park, be prepared. She'll figure out where Daniel is. She might come to your apartment. I straightened in my chair. Let her come, I said calmly. I'm ready. She came. I didn't have to wait long. At 1 p.m., the banging started. Bang, bang, bang. The door shook under her fists. Daniel froze. It's her, he whispered, face pale. Take Ava into the bedroom, I said. Turn on cartoons. Don't let her hear anything. Mom, trust me. He hesitated, then scooped his daughter up. Come on, sweetheart, he whispered. Let's go watch cartoons. I waited until I heard the bedroom door close. Then I opened the front door. Lena stood there and the transformation was terrifying. The woman who always looked flawless, hair perfect, makeup perfect, clothes ironed, now stood shaking, hair wild, mascara running, her blouse wrinkled and stained. But her eyes looked unhinged. Where is my husband? She hissed. Good afternoon to you too, Lena, I said calmly. Don't play games with me, you old hag, she snapped, stepping forward. Where's Daniel? I know he's here. Daniel is where he wants to be, I said. Away from you. She lunged forward, trying to shove past me, but I blocked the doorway. 62 years old or not, I still had strength. Move, she growled. You can't keep me out. He's my husband, Lena screamed. I have a right to see him. You don't have a right to anything, Lena, I said. Or should I call you what you really are, a con artist? Her face drained of color. What are you talking about? I know everything, I said coldly. Your debts, your fake background, your criminal sister, your family's scams. The plan you all had from the very beginning. She opened and closed her mouth like a fish gulping for air. You can't prove anything. Oh, I can. And I already did. Her eyes widened. I have all the conversations between you and your sister, I continued. Screenshots, documents, witnesses, every detail of your plan. And the police have copies too. Her knees almost buckled. You wouldn't do that, she whispered. I already did, I said calmly. The bank accounts are frozen. The house is legally blocked, and a protection order forbids you from coming near me or Daniel. By being here right now, you're breaking the law. That's a lie, she shrieked. You're doing all this because you can't stand that your son loves another woman more than he loves you. I stared at her, unblinking. Daniel never loved you, Lena. He loved the illusion you created. And now he knows the truth. He read every message, every laugh you shared while planning to rob him blind. She froze. Then suddenly she broke. The sobbing started, loud, messy, dramatic. Please, Mrs. Park, she cried, dropping to her knees. Please, I know I made mistakes, but I love Daniel. I love Ava. Don't take them from me. I'm not taking anything from you, I said quietly. You're losing them because of your own choices. I know, she sobbed, but I'm begging you. Don't separate me from my son, please, even after everything. I love him. How interesting, I said softly, because in the messages with your sister, you talked about abandoning Ava after the divorce, taking the money and running. Her face turned deep red. I wasn't really going to do that. It was just talk. Angry talk. Talk, you repeated, planned, detailed, celebrated. She broke again, this time real, shaking sobs that tore through her chest. I ruined everything, she whispered. My life, Daniel's life, Ava's life, and there's no way to fix it. No, I said. There isn't, but please, she begged. If I go to jail when I get out, please let me see Ava. Even once a year, once a month, anything. Please don't take her away completely. I looked at her, the woman who lied, manipulated, stole, schemed, and for the first time since meeting her, I felt nothing. No anger, no pity, just emptiness. Lena, I said, you chose your path. And now you face the consequences. What happens with Ava isn't up to me. It's up to the courts, to Daniel, and eventually, to Ava herself. Please, she begged. There is no please anymore, I said, stepping back. You made your choices. Now, live with them. I began closing the door. Mrs. Park. She jumped to her feet, shaking. "The house," she blurted. "Are you really going to take it? Please, my family will be homeless. My parents lost everything. They have nowhere to go." "They should have considered that," I said, "before living off stolen money." Her face twisted into rage. "You're cruel," she spat. "You pretend to be righteous, but you're just as bad as us." "No," I said quietly. "I didn't spend years plotting to destroy a family. I didn't lie, steal, or manipulate anyone. I'm not cruel, Lena. I'm defending myself and protecting my son." I shut the door, locked it. Behind the wood, I heard her screaming, crying, her lawyer arriving and trying to calm her down. But she was no longer my responsibility. 2 weeks later. 2 weeks passed, and then it was done. The legal process to reclaim the house concluded. The judge reviewed the evidence, every document, every message, every witness statement, and finally declared the gift was obtained through fraud, manipulation, and intent to deceive. Therefore, it is invalid. The property returns to the original owner, Villain Park. I stood in Mr. Harrison's office, holding the new deed in my trembling hands. My name printed clearly across the top. A weight I had carried for years lifted. I had done it. I had taken back what was mine. "And now," Daniel asked softly, "Mom, what happens next? What are you going to do with the house?" Daniel asked. I looked at my son, the version of him returning day by day, stronger, clearer, steadier, and my answer came easily. "I'm going to sell it." "What?" He blinked. "Mom, it's worth more than $3 million. "I know," I said calmly, "but that house is poisoned. Every corner is soaked with lies. I don't want anything connected to Lena or that nightmare." He swallowed. "So, then what?" "With the money," I said, "I'm going to do 3 things. I held up a finger. First, buy a small, nice condo for myself here in Seattle. A place that's truly mine. A second finger. Second, put money into a protected trust for Ava's education. She can't touch it until she's 18. A third finger. And third, I'm giving you enough to start fresh. Not riches, not millions, but enough to rent a good place close by and build a stable life for you and Ava." He shook his head. "Mom, I can't take your money." "Daniel," I said firmly, "I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm telling you my decision. You're my son. Ava is my granddaughter, and I'm going to help you, but this time, wisely. Nothing in anyone else's name. No blind trust. No manipulation. Just a mother helping her child rebuild." His eyes filled. "Thank you, Mom," he whispered, hugging me tight. "Thank you for not giving up on me." "Never," I whispered. "Never." The sale. The house sold in 3 weeks. For $3.4 million. A little higher than what I'd paid. I kept my promise. I bought a simple 2-bedroom condo, quiet, clean, perfect. I placed $1.2 million into Ava's education trusts, completely protected, and I gave Daniel $800,000 to start his new life. For the first time in years, I felt light. Free. The trial? Jessica's trial took place 8 months later. It was a circus. Reporters crowded outside. The con artist who married for money. Headlines everywhere. Daniel and I sat in the back row, heads lowered. We didn't want attention. Only closure. Jessica walked in wearing handcuffs. Dark circles under her eyes. No makeup. No armor. She looked at us eyes wide, lips trembling, but said nothing. The prosecution presented everything. The messages, the financial transfers, the recorded conversations, the investigators' findings, the fraudulent history of her family. It was devastating. Her lawyer tried to claim she had been influenced, pressured, manipulated by her parents. But nothing excused years of scheming. When the judge delivered the sentence, the whole courtroom went still. "Jessica Marie Brooks Park, you are found guilty of fraud, conspiracy, and theft. I sentence you to 12 years in prison." She collapsed, screaming, "Ava, my baby, please, please." Officers dragged her away as she thrashed and cried. Daniel squeezed my hand. I held his tightly. I felt no victory, no joy, only closure. Her parents were sentenced to 6 years each. Her sister Amanda received 10, all taken away in handcuffs. Rebuilding. Afterward, we slipped past the crowd of reporters, Mr. Harrison shielding us, and went home. "It's over," Daniel said quietly, as if he couldn't believe it. "It's over," I agreed. "Mom, thank you for everything. For being strong when I was weak. For fighting when I gave up. For saving me." I shook my head. "I didn't save you, Daniel. You saved yourself." I just opened the door. We returned home, where Ava waited with the babysitter. She ran into her father's arms, laughing and happy. And I knew I'd done the right thing. Healing. The next months were about rebuilding. Daniel started therapy, processing the betrayal, rebuilding confidence, learning how to trust again. It wasn't easy. But slowly, I saw my real son return, a little scarred, but stronger. Ava adjusted faster than we expected. Children are resilient. She still asked about her mother, and Daniel always answered gently, "Mommy is in a place where she has to stay. For a while because she made some bad choices. But she still loves you." Whether that last part was true, none of us knew. But it wasn't the child's burden to carry. When she's older, Daniel told me, she'll hear the truth. But for now, let her keep the good memories. A new life. I moved into my condo and, for the first time in decades, decorated a home for myself. Plants, soft rugs, artwork I loved, not practical beauty. I made a room for Ava, filled with books, toys, soft blankets. She slept over almost every weekend. The three of us, me, Daniel, and Avi, formed a new little family. We went to parks, movies, picnics, simple joys. The joy we had been denied for so long. The letter. 5 months after the trial, Daniel arrived alone. "Mom," he said seriously, "I need to talk to you." "What happened? Is everything okay?" He took a breath and pulled an envelope from his jacket. "I got a letter." "From who?" "From Lena." My stomach tightened. "What does she want?" "She wants me to bring Ava to visit her in prison." I closed my eyes. "And what do you want to do?" "I don't know," he said honestly. "She is Ava's mother. But I don't want Ava inside a prison. She's too young. I don't want to traumatize her." "What does your therapist say?" "That it's my decision. There's no right or wrong." "And what do you think?" I asked gently. He stared at his hands. "I think no. Not now. Ava's happy. She's healing. I don't want to shake her world again." "Then that's your answer," I said. "But what if I'm wrong?" He whispered. "What if she grows up and hates me for it?" "Daniel," I said softly, "you're doing the best you can with a situation asterisk. Lena created asterisk. You didn't put her in prison, her actions did. Protecting your daughter from a painful environment isn't cruelty. It's parenthood." He looked up, eyes wet. "You think I'm doing the right thing?" "I think," I said, touching his arm. "You're being a father. A good father." He exhaled with relief. "I'll write her back. I'll tell her that for now. It's better to wait. But maybe in the future, if Ava wants to see her, we'll revisit it." "That's fair," I said. He stood, walked to the door, then paused. "Mom?" "Yes, son. Do you ever regret it? Doing all this? Setting off the bomb that blew up all our lives?" The question surprised me. I thought carefully. Then I answered with absolute truth. "No," I said softly. "Not for a single second. Because if I hadn't acted, you would still be trapped in that lie. And Ava would be growing up under the same manipulation. And eventually, when she had nothing left to take from you," I said gently, "she would have left anyway, broken you financially, emotionally, spiritually. At least now you get to rebuild with the truth. Daniel nodded slowly. Thank you, Mom, he whispered. I needed to hear that. Life kept moving forward. Life didn't stop after the storm. It never does. Daniel began healing slowly, carefully. Therapy became a safe space where he untangled all the manipulation, the doubts, the guilt. He wasn't ready to date, not for a long time, but he was opening up again. To friendships, to people, to life, and surprisingly, so was I. I joined a quilting club at the community center. I started taking cooking classes. I made new friends, women my age, who, like me, were rediscovering themselves outside of motherhood and grief. One of them, Patricia, became especially close. A widow like me. We met for tea every week and talked about everything: grandkids, heartbreak, dreams. It was Patricia who pushed me to do something I'd never dared. Travel. Evelyn, she said one afternoon, you spent your whole life working, saving, sacrificing. When was the last time you did something just for you? I thought about it. Never. Exactly, she said. You have time now. You have money. You have your health. Why not see the world? The idea was thrilling and terrifying. What about Daniel and Ava? They'll be fine. Patricia smiled. They're not porcelain. And you're not vanishing forever. Take a vacation. Let yourself live. I mulled over her words for weeks. Finally, I gathered the courage and spoke to Daniel. Son, I'm thinking of traveling. Maybe taking that Alaska cruise I always dreamed of. Daniel broke into a huge smile. Mom, that's amazing. You should absolutely go. But it's 2 weeks long. Mom, he laughed. I'm 36. I can handle myself and Ava for 2 weeks. He hugged me. You deserve this. Enjoy every minute. The cruise. 2 months later, I was standing on the deck of a ship sailing toward Alaska. Juneau, Skagway, Ketchikan, places I'd only ever seen on postcards. It was life-changing. For the first time in my life, I was doing something for me. Not for Daniel. Not for family. Not because of responsibility. Just pure joy. I watched whales breach from the ocean's surface. I ate fresh salmon in tiny coastal towns. I stood inches away from ancient glaciers. I cried at sunsets that looked like paintings. Every day revealed something new. About the world. And about myself. I realized something on that deck, wrapped in a warm blanket. Eating ice cream in the freezing wind. For 62 years, I had been many things. A daughter. A wife. A mother. A grandmother. A worker. A soldier of survival. But I had forgotten to be Evelyn just Evelyn. And standing under that Alaskan sky, I finally found her again. Coming home, when the ship returned, Daniel and Ava were waiting at the port with handmade signs. Ava ran to me full speed. Grandma, did you see penguins? Did you see whales? Did you see real ice mountains? I laughed and hugged her tight. Sweetheart, I saw everything. As we drove home, Daniel glanced at me. You look different, Mom. Different how? I asked. Lighter, happier. I smiled. I am happy, I said softly. For the first time in a long, long time, I'm truly happy. And it was true. The pain from what happened with Lena hadn't vanished, but it had healed. The scar remained, but it didn't hurt anymore. A year later, that night, after Ava fell asleep and Daniel headed home, I sat on my balcony with tea. The city lights sparkled below. The breeze carried the scent of flowers from the garden. And peace wrapped around me. I thought about the woman I used to be. The woman who accepted anything just to keep the peace, who swallowed insults to see her granddaughter, who thought love meant suffering silently. That woman was gone. In her place stood someone stronger. Someone who knew her worth. Someone who understood that love without respect is not love at all. I looked up at the stars and thought of my late husband, of how proud he would be that I stood up for myself, that I protected our son, that I showed our grandson what dignity looks like. My phone buzzed. A message from Patricia. So, world travel a coffee tomorrow. I want to hear everything. I smiled. Absolutely. 10 a.m., I replied. I set the phone down and took another sip of tea. There was peace. Finally, after so many years, peace. The promotion. The next morning, Daniel called. Mom, I have news. Good or bad? Good, great, actually. He took a breath. I got promoted. Big raise. And I've been saving. I think in a few months, I might be able to buy a small house for me and Ava. My heart swelled. Daniel, that's wonderful. And, Mom, I was thinking, his voice wavered. When I buy it, I want to put both our names on it. Yours and mine. 50. So you always have a home with us. So you always know you're wanted. Tears filled my eyes. Son, you gave me everything, Mom, more than once. Let me give something back. Not out of obligation, out of love. I wiped my cheeks. I love you too, Daniel. After we hung up, I sat there, smiling and crying at the same time. Everything, every battle, every tear, every sleepless night, led to this moment. A son who finally understood. A grandson growing up safe. A home filled with honesty. A life filled with peace. The new beginning. I walked into my craft room and looked at the quilt I'd been making. Each square represented a memory. Some dark, some bright. All part of my story. I picked up my needle and thread and added a new square. A bright yellow one. Yellow like sunshine. Like hope. Like new beginnings. Because that's what this was. Not an ending. A beginning. A beginning of a life where I mattered. Where I was valued. Where I was loved. And as I stitched that yellow square into place, a smile bloomed across my face. Because I hadn't won by destroying anyone. I won by saving myself. And by saving my family. This was my victory. My peace. My beginning.